Hey, this is Morty back with another video. Today I'm going to go over a couple different types of aggro and how people utilize it, how people exploit it. Um, I'm going to go over a little bit of how PvP is is kind of has a negative effect on PvE and how people are kind of carrying that over into PvE and trains and stuff like that. So I'm here in the gray, and if you if you just walk up to the corner of this building, which I'm going to do just to show an example, you walk up to the corner of this building, um, you're going to get, I don't know, 4 or 5 mobs, right? So you get these mobs, and I haven't done anything, no damage or anything on any of these mobs to pull them. It's just body aggro. I body aggroed one mob, and all the rest chained on them. So they chain social, and people think that that's FTE. And you haven't really engaged these mobs. You just have social. So you're just in body aggro range. You haven't done anything to get um, any kind of engagement on them besides social or chain aggro. Um, Neither of those should be considered FTE on this server. Um, if I was to have another character and I didn't feign death and I walked up by these and I sat down, I would get aggro. Because there's also um, proximity aggro that you can get. So what happens is certain classes like bards, druids, wizards, they might use this to gather up a whole bunch of mobs from a bunch of different spawns here, and so they might. There's a building over this way that has a bunch of skeletons in it. This building over here, and what'll happen is like a bard might come around this way and see that all these mobs are up, and he might aggro this guy, which chains with 2 other mobs over here. And I know that just because I've pulled this enough times to know that this is actually 3 different pulls. Um, so, like if I was to kill this golem and I pulled this corner mob, another Shisar would come and 1 skeleton. If I was running along the line of this building, this way. If I run just a little bit out, like towards this block here, I might pick up a 4th one, but I don't pick up the whole building. So what the bard would do is they body aggro this, and there's a corner over here that they walk up against, and they body aggro like 5 more, and that still leaves a 3 pull that they need to body aggro, right, to pick it up. So the other day, I was sitting right here, and I saw a bard way off in the distance over there. And what I did is I came up here to pull this mob, and the bard has, super speed. So they're running over here, and they aggro this area. My snare lands, so I'm going to pull 3 mobs if I move this way. 4 if I'm just a little bit this way. So I pull my 3 mobs, and I start running back this way so that I can target and snare. And what they did was they saw me pull those mobs and they wanted them. That's theirs. Like if it's not theirs, it's going to be theirs. So what they do is they just ran straight for me with their full train of just body aggroed mobs, right? While I'm snaring and trying to kite my mobs. So I know how to kite over here. If I pull enough this way, sorry about the camera spinning, but trying to give you like some perspective. If I pull my mobs all the way up this way, then I can run down this way. I can even cast Rest the Dead on this corner. Because it's blue, I won't get him aggroed. This one I might be able to Rest the Dead too. But if I run down this way with my snared mobs, I'll be okay. But the bard just doesn't care because he's got bard speed. So he just runs and does a lap around me, and I message him. I'm like, hey, don't train me. And I'm still kiting my pack, not aggroing anything else. And I'm like, hey, don't zone. You'll trade me if you do. And then he comes up, doesn't reply at all, and just zones. And then what happens is all the mobs that he ran around me that while I'm doing my stuff all run over, and now I have to deal with the 3 or 4 mobs that I might be kiting, and then what he does. And then maybe they reply to you, maybe they don't. Like typically what trainers will do is they will just totally ignore you. They just do it a couple times and hope that you leave the area. If they train you 2-3 times, maybe you'll just be like, okay, I don't want to deal with this. I don't want my whole day to be taken over by this guy in PvE, PvPing me by training me, right? So that's one technique that they use. Another technique that they use is, let's be civil about this. That's for camps, that's for trains, that's for a lot of things. People try to use words to get you to comply to them. And so I've seen that used a couple times, is let's be civil about this. I'm like, yeah, you're the one that trained me, or you don't understand the server rules. Like, if it was something else, you know, like I guess I won't go into other things that have happened, but there are rules that are kind of there to protect you. So, you know, make sure that you're contacting GMs if you're getting trained. Make sure that you're contacting GMs if people are doing negative things. Another technique that bards or wizards will do is, you see this little ball up there? This is a trap. This is a worm, and they will run over these worms. They'll get them to spawn, and see, if I spawn it and I run off fast enough, it won't aggro me. But they'll get it to aggro, and then they'll quick zoom this way, and they'll zone, and what happens is that worm will then displace from its spawn, and it'll be right in your path. So it might be where this dead body is, right? And I'm worried about the mobs that I'm kiting. I've already come this way, and I've decided, or maybe I'm facing my mobs, casting my spells on them as I'm backing up, and the bard just happened to place a bunch of worms behind me, like out of my camera range if I didn't, you know, turn my camera, because I'm worried about my kite. So then I back up into a bunch of worms that somebody kited right here. And they'll be like, oh, sorry, didn't see you there. But they did. What they do is they just run around this whole outside area. You can see those worms. Sometimes they tunnel up along this edge. They tunnel over here by this mountain. And there's worms that tunnel, you know, like everywhere out here. And they just use those to train you and then zone and then hope that, well, now you have to feign death or Levant or something so that you don't die. And then they get your lower hit point mobs that you were killing, kiting around. One way that you can protect yourself if you're out here, if you're a druid, a paladin, a ranger, you know, cleric, is just start pacifying all of these. So like, I can't pacify maybe all of the mobs, but one of the ways to protect myself from body aggro is to just start pacifying these. See, this one to the left here that's blue didn't get pacified. This one to the right that's blue did. So it's kind of hard. Sorry, not pacified because I'm a necro. Rest the dead. So sometimes it's hard for like necros. I got another one in the back there. To protect themselves out here, but you know, I can handle a bunch more mobs than a lot of people think, but you know, like I might not be able to handle them all. So I could probably do like 6 at a time, maybe more, depending. I'll go ahead and do a poll and kind of just talk about it as we're going. So I only got 2 that time, which is awesome. See a little way that you can protect yourself from somebody that comes up and body aggro's that whole thing. Just thought that I would put a little video together about like how people are kind of using how this server is becoming more PvP oriented to kind of PvP people in PvE zones because they hope that they won't petition them. You know, I've had a couple people that I've petitioned that they train you a couple times, they swap to a new character, train you a couple more times and log off, or they train you enough to where, you know, like I've had the opportunity and been lucky enough to get a hold of a GM, and the GM's come out and saw some shady stuff going on, but plausible plausible deniability, the person just goes ahead and logs offline. Then they can say, oh, you know, like my baby was sick, or I didn't know, or whatever. Here's another one of those worms that they would pop that I can see and I don't pop. But they just log off, and then the GM can't really do anything because they weren't able to have an interaction with the person. They don't know what was going on. The person's offline. Who knows when they'll log back on again. So they just say, oh yeah, I'm sorry about that, I didn't know, or whatever. So just wanted to kind of complain about that a little bit and kind of go over how you can protect yourself, and you know, like please petition people if they're really going at you, you know, like don't fall for people's tricks about, you know, like let's just be civil, because they're just trying to exploit your emotions or just trying to force you into a situation that's, you know, like for their betterment. So I guess that's it for today. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day, great holidays, and that's it. Peace.